we're about to start this meeting of the January 18th Sumner County Board of Education. Before we do, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence, follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Anyone who would like to join me, please feel free to do so. Join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm so glad I fixed my chair tonight. I feel like I'm up with everybody else now. Last week I was down here, but it's fixed. It's good. First item of on the agenda is to call to order. We are called to order. Next item, roll call. Mr. Johnson, do you have the roll?
Yes, sir.
We want to remember Mr. Wilkerson. Says he's out with COVID, and so we want to remember him as we go to pray. First item on the agenda is adoption of regular agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Mr. Daniels. Second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item is adoption of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion to approve by Ms. Bachman, Mr. Ball. Second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes regarding the minutes of the December 7th, 2021 regular meeting. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Hayes, second by Mr. Daniels. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is recognition of delegations. Dr. Phillips, who do we go to for that?
I know Katie and JJ have the information. I think Katie will take it. We have a student group here with us.
We do.
I recognize Hadley, so.
Yes, we have a
It's
group
good
of
to have her
students
back.
here. They're Beach High School students, but they are representing their Tennessee Strong Ambassadors, which is a statewide group. But I'm gonna let them introduce themselves to you and tell you a little bit more about the work that they've been doing.
Hello everyone! We are so excited to be here tonight. This has been a long time coming. To start out, my name is Hadley Brown, and like she said, I'm a junior at Beach.
Hello, my name's Nate Angelova. I'm also a junior at Beach.
My name is Naja Blair, and I'm also a junior at Beach.
Hi, I'm Ella Pligo, and I'm a junior at Beach as well. And first, before we begin, we have something for you to follow along with as we're going through our presentation. So we'll go ahead and give that to you all.
We don't, we're all juniors.
Okay, so before we begin, we would just really like to thank everyone that has gotten us here. So the administration of Beach High School, most notably Mr. Powell, who has just cheered us on through all our endeavors, Miss Giorgio, our STARS specialist, Miss Mayo at the Anti-Drug Coalition, the school board members that have helped us leading up to this cause, and just all the parents, teachers, and students that have supported us throughout all of this. So how did we get here? So we all started out as STARS peer leaders, which stands for Students Taking a Right Stand, and we try to educate our peers about the dangers of alcohol and violence and drug use, and just be good examples throughout our schools and communities. So Ms. Giorgio approached us with the opportunity to be Tennessee Strong Ambassadors, which is a program that works throughout the state to advocate for anti-tobacco and anti-vaping use among youth. And so we applied, and then in October of 2020, we found out that we were among some of the few selected.
First off, on your screens, you'll see a couple startling statistics. Why do we care about this? Why did we start doing this in the first place? So 26% of high school students say they have used vapes or e-cigarettes. That's a common statistic that's very startling. And going through the rest of this screen, only 16% have tried tobacco, so vaping is more prevalent. Additionally, 14% of middle school students say they have tried vapes or e-cigarettes. As we decided what we wanted to focus our efforts on, we realized that vaping is occurring younger and younger in students. How do we stop that? That is the root of our mission, because as many as 10% have even tried tobacco in other forms. We focused on vaping because that's the most prevalent, but our goal is to stop this as a whole. But once again, how did we get here? In your book, you'll find a more extensive timeline of where we've gotten to right here, but we're also going to give a brief overview so you can see a couple pictures and follow along on your screen as well.
So in November, we started out with our 3-day ambassador training and onboarding. We decided to develop our goals throughout this training when they taught us all the different skills and outreach communities we could outreach to help us through this endeavor. We wanted to make a community video that shares the message of pledging to be vape free, and we actually created that last semester, and we've had that posted, I believe, on the Facebook from the school board. We wanted to fundraise, design, and advertise a t-shirt contest for vaping prevention theme, and we wanted to utilize football games since they're so popular in our communities, especially with youth. We wanted to expand and adapt Sumner County's discipline policy to include tobacco-free learning and to really help kids understand why this is such an issue rather than just disciplining them, to really help them want to stop after being disciplined by the school. And we also wanted to update Sumner County's tobacco policy to use clear and concise language so that we can make sure that teachers are teaching students to stay away from this, and also to make sure that they are not just ignoring the issue when it is not a problem directly through the school board.
So in December, we were able to attend our monthly meetings, which with the Department of Health, we meet once a month, sometimes more, just to go over our goals and learn more how to be better advocates. So we met with Mr. Bill Gibson, who is the Power of Coalition Director, and we spoke to them about his Coalition's Youth Project, Designed for Smoke-Free Parks. And we also learned about the policies surrounding our parks and just how to get more involved within our communities.
So in January, we had a meeting with TN Strong. We had like monthly Zoom meetings or Teams meetings where we learned about different curriculums that we could do. So there's a group of students that go to another school in Tennessee, and they do curriculums for elementary school students to teach them about vaping and how it's bad. So we wanted to kind of adopt this and kind of modify it for middle school or elementary school, and we learned a lot more about just TN Strong in January.
Moving on to February, we wanted to hit the ground running. We wanted to see, we wanted to be something a little bit more. So we partnered with the Sumner County Anti-Drug Coalition, and they were able to give us the funds to make the video. So with this partnership, we have used them as a knowledge resource as well as a financial resource to really help us discuss these initiatives with Mr. Powell and make things happen, which led to
In March, thanks to our wonderful ambassador, Naja Blair, we got access to a wonderful videographer that actually graduated from Beach. With his help, we were able to develop the video that we posted on the Facebook and that we've been trying to post throughout the county so that people can learn more about how much Beach High School cares about this problem. We really worked on incorporating different groups and extracurriculars into this so that we can show that this isn't just us wanting change, it's all of the county, it's all of the school, and that we want a better and brighter future for our youth, for our friends, and for our family. Next, in April, we actually had the execution of this video.
And so, yes, in April was when we were able to put on the video, and it was just a really fun day at Beach. We had all the sports teams and all the students hanging out, which I don't know if our admin loved all our gathering in the hallways, but it was very fun for us to miss class a little bit. We also had, we had clubs like DECA and HOSA and FBLA and all those CTEs that students just love at Beach. We were also able to incorporate messages from our legislative leaders, which was huge. We had U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn, local mayors, judges, and state representatives. So it was just a really amazing video that we were happy to put on. And now May.
In May, we decided that we wanted to launch a t-shirt design contest. So at first we had to come up with a slogan. We came up with the slogan, "Be a hero, drop vaping to zero." And at first we thought it was kind of long, but then we realized that it worked out. So we decided that we needed to get a student to design this t-shirt. So we reached out to different schools throughout the county to get a student that was in our art class to design a shirt. And we got a student from Gallatin High School to come up with a design, and they emailed it to Miss Giorgio. And then we were able to move on to what month? Next month.
Oh, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. In July, we hosted an information station at Orange Rush, our registration day at Beach. We were able to talk to a lot of the students and have students pledge to be vape-free on paper. They'd heard our initiative, but something about seeing your signature on a page that is dedicating yourself to not doing tobacco and not vaping is very powerful. We have dozens of papers with hundreds of signatures from the events that we've attended, and that all started at Orange Rush.
So next up is August. We were finally upperclassmen, so we were very happy about that, and we started our junior year. So during the month of August, we were able to meet with Miss Jericho Mayo, who has been amazing throughout this whole process, and start planning for the football games where we could educate students about the dangers of vaping. We decided to go with Gallatin versus Beach High School because that's a pretty big game, and well, go Bucks. And then we decided to do T.W. Hunter versus Knox Doss because those are the two middle schools that go into Beach, and so we thought that would be important to just have them working together for middle school. This is when we began reaching out to our local representatives and mayors to try to issue a proclamation for a county-wide anti-vaping day and local one as well. And this is when Hadley and I also became involved with our Sumner County Student Leadership Team. So we've tried to bring a lot of our ideas there and anything we learn at those meetings back to Beach and TN Strong as well.
One thing to add real quick. One of them is going to come up and talk about September. But when we say we received all of those t-shirts, we received a $4,300 sponsorship from United Healthcare to pay for all 700 of the t-shirts we were able to distribute to both Beach and Gallatin. So that was something that absolutely was huge, and that's where those t-shirts came from. Just a side note, blurb over.
So in September, we hosted the first We Pledge to Be Vape-Free Day at the TWH and KDDC football game. Like Ella talked about a few minutes ago, this was really our first attempt at setting up a game because we weren't sure how it would go over with high school students, but it was just a phenomenal success. I mean, the middle school students, they were so excited, they truly cared. Their eyes lit up every time they wore that shirt. It's really something so powerful, seeing your youth, seeing the people who look up to you want to see change, not just for themselves, but for their peers, for the people above them, for the people below them. It really just shows you something about how much this community cares. Next, in October,
Like Mia said, after September, with the success of the TW Hunter game, we decided to do it at the Beach game and give out the shirts. So it was really exciting to do it at the game. There were a lot of students that were really interacting with us, and we were able to talk to them. We had like a setup of pig lungs that one was a smoker lung, one was a healthy lung, and people were really interested in that. There were a lot of students that got the shirts, and we see them wearing them at school all the time. We'll just see someone down the hallway wearing them. And it was really cool for us to see that. And also in October, we were given the opportunity to go to Country Day, which is at Beach Elementary School. And we did kind of the same thing, but we scaled it down for elementary school students. And the parents were really adamant about the stuff we were saying. So we gave them healthy living stickers, as well as we told them different things about what's in a cigarette. We had this little presentation where we had different items like nail polish remover, rubber cement, rocket fuel, just really random things. And we would tell them, hey, can you pick what you think's in a cigarette? And they picked it, and they were really scared, and they were scared of it. It was a weird experience.
So these are some of the pictures of everything that we've accomplished over the past couple of months. So you'll see here we have a lot of kids signing our banner at the football games. It was really exciting to be able to see all these students unite, see each other, not just themselves put that name on that banner, but seeing their peers, their friends unite with them in this fight against tobacco and nicotine. We have the pig lungs, like Naja was telling us about, which is really just a powerful visual, especially when presenting to a younger audience, like the elementary kids. And we also had where we presented at Country Day, talking to the different kids, because unfortunately, like Hadley mentioned earlier, we see it starting younger and younger as we go. So we need to start that education, build that foundation, and teach them the dangers of tobacco and nicotine.
We were so excited after the month of October. We had to take a second and regroup because we had our huge t-shirt design contest and we had just successfully been to these football games. So we decided to step back and start planning again. How can we showcase all of this to all of you? How can we truly showcase these things in the community? We started a social media. It's called, Naja, correct me if I'm wrong, Sumner Tennessee Strong. Sumner_Tennessee Strong. That's it, absolutely. Where we're showcasing these things and trying to get the word out. We have a lot of future plans that include creating our own curriculum to bring into the elementary schools, outreaching past the beach and Shackle Island community, and really going further to make our t-shirt design contest next year bigger. Can we get more donations? How can we go bigger and better? That's what November was really about.
So December was a fun month. We were able to be awarded a proclamation by the City of Goodlettsville, which officially declares December 11th an anti-vaping day for schools across the city. And yeah, woo! So we were very excited about that. And we've been in contact with Gallatin now because some other cities have seen that and want to do the same thing. And as of last night, we just applied for a Tennessee proclamation as well. So fingers crossed that comes through. We also have applied for some more grants and just additional funding to carry out all these projects that we want to do. And we started preparing for this meeting right now. So that was a big part of December too.
So January kind of came quick to us. So a couple days ago, we were at school. We were sitting in AP language class, and Mr. Powell, over the announcements, they called, "Can we have Naja Blair, Nia Angelova, Hadley Brown, and Naja Blair to the front office?" And we ran into Mr. Powell, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna put you guys on TV." And we were like, okay. So he asked us to be at the Beach versus Hendersonville basketball game as the rivalry because he wanted us to say a few words about the things we've been doing. So we were able to do that on Friday night.
And now we've found our ways here. Thank you so much for listening to us. So as you can see, unfortunately, we were not able to show examples. Well, actually, should I say more? Fortunately, we weren't able to do so because I hope we're not exposed to any of that. But these are the many different tobacco products that you can see in the schools. And the unfortunate thing is we see these on the daily. When you go to the bathroom, when you go to the parking lot, these are the places that are unparoled and there's no one really to stop these students. And that's what we're trying to fix.
I would also like to mention that Beach did win the basketball game, in case any of you were wondering. That's an important part of it. So if you flip to the back of your binders, this is where we have the different policies. So our biggest thing is we want to propose a universal policy, and right now there are only 5 counties in the state of Tennessee that currently have a universal one, and you may be wondering, why is a universal one so important? So that really prohibits any vaping. It gives clear and concise language so that everyone knows what's going on. So in the back, it will show our current one, an example from Tobacco-Free Schools, and then a universal one that is in place in Williamson. So 2 examples to kind of compare to our current one so that we can hopefully make it universal with your help.
A big thing that we were adamant about was the in-school policies and things that happen with the discipline policy. We know a lot of students that are caught vaping. Some of them are trying to get on the track to quit, so we want to make sure we can give them a lot more resources that they can use to help them quit, because it's not as easy as it seems to just stop. So we want to give students resources in different classes, things that they can do, and especially another thing we thought of was getting students to be able to have it taken off their record in some kind of way, giving them an opportunity to do service projects and different things like that to help out.
The piece of paper that we just handed you that wasn't in the binder, this is an example. This is our policy with the adaptations necessary to make it universal. So this is ours, and with the absolute help, yes, of Mr. Johnson and Ms. Brown, this is what it would look like if it was universal.
So for some of the in-school policies that Naja was mentioning, we would really love to install anonymous reporting options on a universal discrete level, such as a cell phone app, a website link, maybe a QR code in the bathrooms. We would like to have accessible educational resources to quit using tobacco and vape products, because ultimately suspending these students won't do anything because they will just do this outside of school. We really need to give them the resources they need to quit, to make that choice for themselves. And we really want to start the momentum going at the 5th grade level, advocating against tobacco and vape products, because at this age they're beginning to be exposed to these different new ideas, especially going into middle school, and that's really when they're starting to understand that concept of good and bad. And then we would also love to have the disciplinary policy reform for vaping infractions, which we have in front of you, one of the reformed policies, but we would really love to focus more on rehabilitation. We would love to have these students take classes, maybe outside of class, so they're not having to miss so much school, but really show them what it can do for them if they learn to quit.
And then on our final and second level of community outreach, countywide, we pledge to be Vape Free Day. It would be absolutely huge. We would love to put something together like that. Just like with our t-shirt initiative, we saw how successful that was in just the beach community. So expanding that to be all of the county is something we would love to make happen, as well as social media outreach. Students are on social media. We can speak it fluently. And so getting on that same level of speaking social media to students, we've been already starting it with our own Tennessee Strong Instagram, and seeing that bumped up to the next level are our recommendations to make happen there. Thank you all so much for listening. We've hit so much information at you, but we can take questions.
Fantastic. Anybody got any questions? Mr. Duncan?
It appears that a lot of the vaping is tied to flavors and other things that would draw in some of those younger people to find it more interesting. Because, I mean, if you've ever been around a smoker, it's got a horrible smell and odor, which kind of turns a lot of younger people off. Have you had any conversations with some of the elected officials about potentially working on that aspect of limiting the flavoring piece to vaping, which would possibly make it less appetizing for the younger people?
We talk a lot about that in our Tennessee Strong meetings. We have those meetings monthly with students from all across the state who are trying to do the exact same things in their counties. And a lot of the big things that they focus on is called fighting big tobacco. That's our slogan. Yes, I want to make sure I get it right. The fight against big tobacco. And focusing on that, the same thing is fighting against big vape. And big vape, for lack of better words, is the flavors. So getting rid of that absolutely would have the same effect.
And it was actually, so this summer, flavors were banned on a federal level. One of the big organizations we work with is Tobacco Free Kids, and so we were able to learn because of all the youth advocates. But the biggest thing is that menthol is still not banned, so that's kind of our next obstacle to jump over, is getting that banned.
Do you know if there's been any medical research done on popcorn lung? Because when vaping first came out, that was the biggest concern that doctors had. They were seeing something that they'd never seen before, and it kind of got labeled as popcorn lung. And it's got to do not necessarily with cancer, but it's got to do with some other adverse effect to your lungs. And I think it's much like your example with the pig lungs, the good and the bad. I think showing something like that would be very useful in getting it across to the youth.
Definitely. And so vaping really is an epidemic and a public health crisis, so that's what we're learning. And one of the presentations that we did, we actually shared the story of a young girl who went into a coma because of how much vaping that she did on a daily basis. So there have been teens that have lost their lives due to vaping, and so that's one of our biggest goals, is that we just want to keep these kids alive and healthy.
Thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Ms. Hawkins?
Oh, yes, hats off to you all. This is amazing to show this kind of care for your fellow students and in your community, and to actually do something about it. And to dovetail off what you said, I have heard stories of young people who have vaped, and the reports are that their lungs have crystallized and turned rock hard. And I'm not sure if that's what the popcorn lung is, but it's just awful, the results. And I was wondering if you ever have people coming in giving testimonials, actually, who have suffered from the results of vaping.
So we've not had anyone come directly to a teacher like Ms. Giorgio, but speaking as an athlete, I have watched my fellow teammates who have vaped. I've watched them standing over the side at a race, coughing, hacking, because they just couldn't get enough breath to their lungs. And it's heartbreaking, truly, to see the people that you care about, that you fight alongside, to go through something like that. And they have come to me personally. They've come to other members of the team. I believe some have come even to some of these wonderful ladies here. And they've talked about how truly difficult it is. But the worst part is that once you're hooked on nicotine, you can't just stop. Someone has to give you those resources, but it seems like no one wants to do that. They just want to end it with out of school suspension and you're out. And that's what we want to help fix. We want to make sure that they have that hand to grab onto and to be able to walk down that path of success and rehabilitation.
Thanks, Ms. Hawkins. Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for coming out and sharing this information. It's great. I appreciate that as you went through the presentation. You know, one of the things that you all have been focusing on isn't just let's get people that have started to stop, but let's keep those kids at the younger levels of both the elementary and middle school age from starting. Because if you can keep them from starting, then you don't have to worry about teaching them to quit. That there's so many addictive pieces and components to vaping and nicotine that make it really hard. Even if a student wants to quit, or even if a person wants to quit, it's just, in some ways, it's almost impossible to do. So the more you can do on the front end to keep it from happening, the better off you are on the long run. So I appreciate your advocacy, not just on those that are trying to quit, and I appreciate how you're trying to provide support for those that are going through this versus just completely cutting them off and exiling them in some cases, but also on the front end trying to address it with students to say, hey, this is what can happen, because sometimes it's amazing the fear of seeing that and that happening to you can be enough to keep someone from actually starting in the first place. So thank you very much for all your advocacy.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Ms. Andrews?
Yes. First of all, thank you ladies for coming. I know that it's been a long process, obviously by the work that is detailed in the information that you handed out, that it's something that you all are passionate about and that you've worked hard to execute. And so first I just want to say thank you. Additionally, just questions, I know we've talked about, or you talking about, you know, going to the students and so forth and meeting them where they are as far as social media and whatnot. But I also feel like a component of that is education for parents. And I feel like, you know, even showing the picture that y'all had on there of different things as far as cigarettes or e-cigarettes and so forth. As a parent, there were a couple of those things on there that I had not personally seen, and I'm like, what is that? So I feel like that there's a component of it as well to educate parents, one, of, hey, this is prevalent with our youth, so one, you need to be looking for it, and then two, these are the things you need to look for. I think I mentioned with Hadley at one point that until recently, I'd heard lots about vaping and so forth, but it was only within the last like 4 months did I actually see what a vape looked like, and I was like, oh, didn't know that's what I was supposed to be looking for. Right. And I feel like I'm a pretty, you know, active and engaged parent with my children and so forth. So have there been any talks as far as outreach for parents and that communication to them so that they can also be allies to help obviously curb the start, and then if their student is, resources that they can be made aware of on where to get help?
Absolutely, and that goes exactly what Ms. Hawkins was saying, is that vaping's so new. We don't know the effects of it. We don't know the effects of it on students. We don't know if it's going to cause you to go into a coma. We don't know if it's going to give you popcorn lung. We don't know if your lungs are going to crystallize. We just don't know. It's not new enough. It's not old enough to know. So thinking about that same thing, parents haven't seen it yet. One of our big goals at the football games and at Country Day was to educate parents. We had flyers. So the student draw-in was, if you pledge to be vape-free, we'll give you a t-shirt. And while you're going and getting your t-shirt, I'm gonna stand and talk to mom, give her a flyer, and say, this is exactly what we're dealing with. Your student may think that it's cool right now, but it's not cool. And here are the latest statistics. So that's exactly what we were aiming for while we were at these events.
Awesome. I would, as a parent, I guess maybe as a plea or as a suggestion and so forth, I know that y'all did a great video with the students, but as y'all are planning forward and making, new endeavors and so forth, to maybe consider a parent video, and one that can also be shared that, whether it's the information for parents so that we know what we're looking for, we know kind of causes, but then also maybe some student testimonials that say, this is where I started, this is where I got it, this, just because I feel like that would be helpful for a parent to know those things. And then additionally, I know that y'all done a lot with the students signing and saying, we're going to be vape free, and I commend y'all for that. I'm hoping my kids' signatures are on those somewhere. I know we were at the game, so I'm hoping my students' signatures are on those. But what are some of the obstacles that you've heard from your peers as far as stopping, or maybe why they started, or is there any of that feedback that you can give us as far as like what are some of the obstacles within your peers on the prevalence of vaping?
I'm gonna give them an opportunity. Make sure.
So something I have heard from a lot of students, as well as like seeing different statistics online, is that a lot of students go to it for like anxiety and depression and different things like that. But something that the students don't recognize is that it doesn't help, it just makes it worse. And a lot of students think that vapes are just like water vapor with flavoring in it, but they don't realize that it's nicotine. It's like almost pretty much as bad as tobacco. So that's a big thing.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Mr. Gregory?
Well, first of all, who invited these young ladies?
I think Katie.
We kind of invited ourselves.
Well,
They've been working with somebody from my office and Miss Giorgio.
I'm very proud you did. I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
Thank you so much. And one more thing too is we've noticed a lot, as you know, and especially as a parent, there's a lot of mental health issues going on right now. I mean, to go with COVID and just being a teenager in general is hard. So just like vaping is a form of substance abuse. And so among teenagers, they're gonna look for anything that they think can help them feel better or fit in more or even just be a little happier. And so that's our goal, is to not only prevent vaping, but implement other things that can help them if they're struggling.
Oh, Miss Hayes.
Hey there, Chairman Brewer. How are you? I'm good, thank you. The fantastic foursome over there, wonderful. I just appreciate your heart and your compassion for your peers, and wanting to affect positive change. I think it's powerful that it's your peer group. I think they listen to you more than a parent. The adult in the room is coming down on them. It makes a huge impact because they look up to you, the upperclassmen now. Two-part, where did you get your pig heart? How did you get the pig to smoke? And I could just picture a pig sitting back with cigarette smoking. So how do you get the black lung? And give us the ingredients of the vape or the cigarette. You have what are the total ingredients?
You know, I could not tell you about the pig heart. All I know is it was very difficult to assemble, not being an engineer myself. But we did manage. As far as the ingredients go, there's just too many to list. One of the activities and visuals we used at Country Day was bringing out this list, and it's these 10 pages, front and back, of this tiniest font that you can barely even read. You roll it up, and you just flip it down, and that's all the ingredients on a vape. And those are just the possible ones. We know for sure there's so many more that go almost undetected, but they're still in there, still affecting our bodily systems and our organ functions. So it's really terrifying. I mean, it's powerful to think about how 10 pages, front and back, tiniest font you could possibly think of, and that's not even all the ingredients. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't even pronounce some of this stuff. If it's something I learned in chemistry class, I don't want it in my body. But then again, I'm just not a fan of chemistry.
Thank you, girl.
Going off of what Nia said, we also used that same activity at Tattoo Day when we did it at Tattoo Day, and students were reading it, and they're like, I don't even know how to say this. So we were telling them, well, if you can't read it, why would you want to put it in your body? And that's something that I kind of came up with, was that I told students that if they wanted to put something in their body, they should take some water and some food, not whatever chemicals were written on the page of 5,000 chemicals.
And Chair Brewer, your point about the mental health and emotional health, these behaviors and the addictions are Band-Aids for pain, and you medicate in a lot of different ways. You can even shop. That's an addiction. So to medicate, whatever it is, so this is just, if kids can begin to recognize some of these, the behavior itself, but then to carry it further to where they can become healthy mentally and emotionally. Why is it I go to that? You know, these are just life lessons for young kids. If they could get it now and not wait till they're dead, or going down the road following different addictions, it's not a good outcome most of the time. So I just appreciate y'all.
We never want the excuse to be that they didn't know better. That's the goal, is that as long as they know better, then we can have those different avenues, and pairing the two together, that as long as the excuse is not, I didn't know, that means that we're successfully getting somewhere.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Dr. Phillips.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for your leadership among your peers, and we're proud of you, all of you, for stepping out there and trying to be a leader and to do something that's good for your peers and good for the community. So thank you for that. I also want to say all the parents, so the parents are here. Yes. If these young ladies, raise your hand. All right, y'all are awesome too. That's awesome. Thank you for letting us work with your young people. Man, gosh, they're awesome. And they're awesome because you've done such a great job. So feel good about that, right? All right, thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips. Any other questions? Seeing none, ladies, we thank you very much. Y'all are always welcome here. You have an ear here anytime. Thank you. Okay,
Oh,
good.
it's for this video. You guys get to see it. That's
I was wondering, we heard about that video and we haven't got to see it yet, so.
Hi, my name's Hadley Brown. I'm Nia Angelova. My name's Naja Blair. And I'm Ella Pligo. And we're Tennessee Strong Ambassadors. We decided to create a video about vaping prevention in our high school, utilizing all the different clubs and organizations we have here at Beach High School.
All the clubs and organizations are pledging to be vape-free,
to raise awareness throughout our school and community to aid in quitting this harmful habit. Thank you for watching.
We are Beach High School Cross Country.
We are the Beach Choirs.
Hi, we are Beach High School Stars.
We're the Beach High School Hosa Club. We're the Beach High School softball team.
We are the Beach High School football team. And we pledge to be vape free.
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 We are the Beach High School cheerleaders,
and we pledge to be vape free.
Yeah!
Hello, this is Hendersonville Mayor Jamie Clary, and I pledge to be vape free, and I hope you'll do the same.
Hello, Beach students. I'm State Senator Farrell Hale. I hope you're going to remain vape free, and I commit to being vape free.
Thank you to the Tennessee Department of Health and Tennessee Strong for the work that you are doing to curb teenage smoking and teenage vaping. And to all of the teenagers, remember, for your health, stay vape free and tobacco free.
We are beach baseball players, and we pledge to be vape-free.
Pledge to be vape-free. And we pledge to be vape-free.
We are Beach High School Beta Club.
And we pledge to be vape-free. And we pledge to be vape-free.
We're the Beach High School Girls Soccer Team, and we pledge to be vape-free.
We're part of the Beach High School Band, and we pledge to be vape-free.
We are Beach High School dance team members,
And we pledge to be vape-free.
We are the Beach High School golf team, and we pledge to be vape-free.
We're Beach High School FBLA,
And we pledge to be vape-free.
We are the Beach High School dance team, and we pledge to be vape-free.
We are the VHS yearbook staff, and we pledge to be vape-free.
The video was made by Trent Millspaw. He graduated from Beach in 2017. Just wanted to say.
We also have a banner of student signatures with us. We can all hold it. If you guys would like to sign it, you're more than welcome to. Pledging to be vape-free. You guys know the dangers, so there's no excuses.
We have our proclamation too. If you guys would like to look at it.
The Vice Mayor's not me.
Congratulations, y'all did an awesome job.
Who's got a Sharpie?
How are you?
All right, now here's the problem. You're juniors. Next year you'll be seniors. Who's after you?
We actually have like a little protege. She's a freshman. Her name's Hannah.
They're gonna have to get that done in your senior year so it doesn't die.
She's a new Tennessee Strong Ambassador. She was selected in November, and she is going to hop on board starting right now. So that she can know that her name's Hannah.
We didn't throw her in.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. That's exciting.
She's a freshman.
All right, y'all ready?
All right, y'all squeeze in.
All right, JJ's gonna take one, then y'all come right on up here and take one, okay? All right, y'all come on around. Don't be, come on, take your shot. Get on around, take your shot.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Everybody say snow.
Yes, we have a snow day tomorrow.
I just gave you the smoke.
You got an extra day on Tuesday.
You always look so quiet, but you're a serious. Like the
Y'all want
game,
some signs?
well, I will never forget. Yes.
Like, I will never forget. Like, we talk about it in my family all the time because we're like, no, I didn't know it was
That was the time of my life. You would hold off your jacket and said, I'm ready. That was my peak of high school. Right there. The Bobby Graham stairs was the first time. Yeah.
You can go this way.
Everyone kept running up to the table during the latte, like, where's the goals? Thank you all so much. Can I have a shirt?
Hand it on back there.
Here's your challenge. All night in every school before you graduate high school.
That's the goal.
We would love to make the T-shirt initiative big enough where every student in every high school gets one.
It is. I mean, having something tangible to remind them.
I don't embarrass well.
I don't sign my signature without that.
Bring my clown shoes on.
You could draw a picture, just like this smiley face with some hearts on there.
No, but I had it right in front of me. I signed it right in front of my desk where it's got my name. So yeah. That's still legal in Tennessee. Make your mark.
You have a little.
Oh,
Yeah. Gave us the money the first day, so I need to go. It's perfect. It's great. Yes, sir. Anybody else? I need to sign. Oh, I had signed.
Thank you for all your support.
Look what Goodlettsville did.
Is that it?
What Hendersonville did.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Put his picture on the video. Don't get me started. I think the kind of they're gonna know about it. They're gonna know about it.
We're not going to let them graduate.
Yeah, y'all got a lot of young. Yeah, there's stuff.
There's some of these, yeah. We do.
Yeah, you don't want to force somebody.
Yeah, it's because we had started already and we wanted to kind of push it. So now we can pull it.
What sport do you do?
I do cross country.
Oh, boy.
She's very fast. She's very fast. Thank you for all your support.
It does. Right. Right. You can't, to me, I know these for something. And I said, you know, that y'all's home, not that. You just. That's right. Wear it well. Right. Let it be their problem, not yours.
All right, board members, we've got some more stuff to cover, y'all. Come on down.
I know, but still, some of them are volunteers. Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, ladies. We sure appreciate you very much. Y'all are fantastic.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is reports from the director, Dr. Phillips.
I just have a couple of things I wanted to mention. One, the lottery application that we discussed previously, that policy's on there for tonight, that we're having to make those changes for Liberty Creek in high school, and then also Westmoreland Middle and Westmoreland High. Those applications are active, so parents are already out there. I think we've had quite a number already sign up for consideration to be able to attend there. I think the biggest thing, back several months ago, we talked about start times, which parents that are zoned for Liberty Creek have been waiting on this for quite some time. We want to get it out there, especially with the lottery application window open. So we're going to publicize this on our Facebook page this evening. Is that right, JJ? On our webpage, Scroller, and then I think Dr. Holt and his group with Liberty Creek will also push it out on their Liberty Creek Facebook page. But the elementary school start time will be 7:30. It's around 7:30 to 2:30. Middle school 8 to 3. High school 8:15 to 3:15. So that's good. I think that's a really good mix there. Pretty traditional. In regard to start-stop time for elementary, middle, and high school. So I appreciate Andrew, Tracy, Heather, the whole group working to try to make sure we got the bus routes and the timing for the difference between elementary and middle and high to be close enough that it's good for parents. So I think it's good.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips. Mr. Andrew.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question? If it's not appropriate to ask, then just let me know. I just had a question about snow days. the number of snow days we have left, and if we've heard anything back from the state, because I know we requested the days, the 4 days we used in the fall be added back to our stockpile. Have we heard anything about that?
So I think after today, maybe we have 5 left. And I have spoken with Representative Lambert about that. I do believe that he has spoken to some of his colleagues, and I feel confident that there's going to be a bill introduced, hopefully through the committee system, obviously to help us with that. So I feel like that will happen.
Thank you.
Or at least I feel like it will be introduced anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Ms. Andrews.
Yes, regarding start times, when does Howard Elementary, when does it start?
Sure, I'd have to look. I don't have all of them memorized.
Is it early school? Okay.
7:30. 7:30.
I just want to make sure that we were mindful when we made those start times, since we did have to leave certain students, our elementary students there, but then they would be attending Liberty Creek Middle and High School, that we were mindful of that when planning those start times to account for the parents that would have to do both campuses.
Sure, yeah.
So
Yeah,
that is
7:30 to 8 o'clock. Yeah.
And then also regarding the lottery, do you happen to know a time frame or approximation of when some coaches and maybe teachers and so forth will start being released? I know some parents are waiting to hear some of that before they fill out the application or to decide whether or not they want to fill out an application.
Probably mid-February. So it's probably not going to coincide really well with the lottery. If they think they want to go to Liberty Creek, probably going to need to make that decision based on other factors, I guess would be what my response would be to that. The reason for that, especially with in-season sports like basketball, even if you have a commitment from someone, they don't want that to be known until they get past their season. Now, of course, if it's already, their season is over, then it might not be quite as big a deal. So we're trying to stage those where we could release all of those coaching assignments at one time. And to do that, we're going to need to wait.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And some of them haven't been finalized at all yet. I think Dr. Holt is still interviewing for some of those slots.
Ms. Andrews. Ms. Hawkins?
Just a clarification. If someone is currently out of zone at Gallatin High School, and where they live now, they're now zoned for Liberty Creek, it's my understanding that they can still stay at that they've already been accepted as an out-of-zone student at Gallatin High School?
Yeah, but they're no longer out of zone to Gallatin. They'd be zoned to Liberty Creek. So.
Okay, so I'm confused because.
So we wouldn't let anyone stay that's zoned to Liberty Creek. They're being rezoned to Liberty Creek, so they wouldn't.
Even though they've gone through the application process and they're originally zoned for Station Camp. Now, but they were accepted as an out-of-zone student at Gallatin High School and are currently at Gallatin High School. But it was my understanding anyone who had gone through the out-of-zone procedure and was at that school, they can stay?
Yeah, not if they're being zoned to the new school. Yeah, we're not. I'm pretty sure that's the way we said it, right, JJ? Yeah.
So even people who've gone through the out-of-zone procedure applications.
Because we'll have that same scenario happen in other, Station Camp Beach, where there could be probably not quite as many as Gallatin, but they could be in that feeder footprint for Liberty Creek, and we're making all of those move.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Making them move across the system if they're zoned into the new school.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Next item on the agenda is new business. There's 4 policies there. I would entertain them.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we group AH through A4 together as a group and waive second reading.
Second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Duncan, second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick question. Can we waive second reading? I thought there was a comment that some of these policies we couldn't waive second reading at our study session. Is that true or not?
Yeah, you can waive second reading, yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is this unfinished business discussion and action regarding the amendments to the general purpose budget. Is there a motion? Motion approved by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and action regarding amendments to the federal budget. Motion to approve by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion of study session items. I suggest to you that this will probably be on the study session.
Yes, sir. That policy will be on the study session as long, and also whatever bells and whistles Scott Langford comes up between now and then. So.
All right. Next item on the agenda is communication from board members. Let's start with Ms. Hayes.
Chairman Brewer. You remember the evening that the Hendersonville High School MJROTC came, and we just acknowledged and recognized all their accomplishments and their awards and even national recognition. Well, I got this invitation in the mail not long after that to attend the 246th Marine Corps birthday, and this was put on by the Booster Club, and it was at I still call it Bluegrass Baptist Church. It's the Indian Lake Peninsula, that church. They did a phenomenal job. All the pomp and circumstance, it was so moving, so moving. And their speaker, now, I got his name down here. He is a local guy, he's a Navy SEAL. And I tell you, he had us all sitting on the edge of our seat. It was just a phenomenal evening. It's Josh something, and now I'm looking through this in a hurry. Oh yeah, Jason Kuhn, and he's a former Division I athlete, Navy SEAL sniper. He's a great motivational speaker. I mean, the guy, and he does that. He goes and just talks about the character traits and the training and the discipline, the perseverance, and all these things which we can apply to all of our lives and whatever our task is. But just did a phenomenal job. Jonathan and I both attended, and we were very appreciative of a lovely evening with these Marines. And I tell you, they've just got the best looking dress uniforms of any armed service. I had gone off that night and forgotten at each of our tables, we got the U.S. Marine Corps Junior ROTC medallion with the HHS. Making excellence a habit is their code. Well, I went to the room, so I'm giving Andy Brown a shout out, to the HHS, their training center, and they are so excited to have this space. Just so appreciative. It looks great, Andy. And then they had a volunteer build a wooden rifle holder for them because they were storing them in garbage cans, just putting them in. It just looks so good. And the pride of these students, these MJROTC students, Marine Corps, they were so excited to just show me the place. You know, it just made them feel validated and important to have that. So and they've got best leadership, sharp young men. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, and I'm appreciative that we support these programs in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Ms. Bachman?
Just another quick thank you for Hanley Brown and Katie Brown for bringing these awesome young women to our attention, and I learned a lot tonight and very appreciative of all that. So I can be looking at my grandkids and questioning them sometimes. So, but I appreciate that. And thank you for all that you all do. Appreciate it so much. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. Ms. Andrews?
Yeah, I just want to give everybody an update. I know I've been asked a couple of times about if we're going to start our lunches and so forth. Commissioner Shell and myself have spoken on a couple of different occasions regarding this. We actually sat down this past weekend and kind of had come up with some dates and some schools that we wanted to target, and then just with the current weather situation and just the current, we're requesting at this time that there's not additional visitors to the schools and so forth, and we just felt like that in the best interest of the schools and them trying to get back on track and back into routine, that right now, we're not going to restart that. That we're going to, just out of respect for the administrators and the staff, to give them the time to kind of figure things back out, because as we're looking at, February, I've been told February, per the Farmer's Almanac, the weather doesn't necessarily look great then, and then you start looking at March and you have spring break and you start getting into testing and so forth. And as much as they would absolutely say, yes, please come, it also makes a disturbance within their building. So want to be respectful of that. So we are looking at possibly having a couple of not in school buildings, but within our school system, lunches April and May. We're going to work out those details, and I'll get back to you. And then the desire is that once next school year starts, that we will be able, hopefully things will kind of calm down and back to normal, and that we can restart those at that time.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. So my yearning for that nice warm yeast roll is going to have to continue, I guess. So, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I would like to thank these 4 young people for coming in and sharing not only their vision, but their timeline, their thought process, and why this is so important. So I'm excited to have on our study session their proposed change, and just so we can get our teeth into it and see what we need to do. I don't know what else I could say. I mean, that's Sumner County is a very unique county in Middle Tennessee and Tennessee. And again, I go back to what I've said the last couple of meetings: unique community values. These young people took it on themselves to do this. I mean, if that doesn't highlight how special our community in Sumner County is, I don't know what does. So again, I'm excited to see where these young people go in their career, and I'm excited for the next study session to see what we can really do with what they proposed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Ms. Hawkins?
First of all, I just want to say that I'm lifting David Wilkerson in my prayers. I hope he has full healing, and I look forward to seeing him back here. Number 2, these 4 ladies who came and represented their community and are just amazing. And I would just say to anyone who has anything doubtful to say about our next generation, has these 4 women to look at and know that we are in good hands. This is our next generation. These are the people who are going to be leading our country, and that's very encouraging. And third, I want to give a big shout out to Kelly Flood for using her connections with the Predators and making a very special evening for a high school that was hurting and is still hurting for the loss of Coach Jerry Landers, where they were able to invite all the students to come to a Predators game. All access leasing, provided transportation, and I unfortunately was not able to go, but I did watch some of it on TV, and they had a presentation on the big screen, which was very moving. And I know that Coach Landers' family was very touched by this recognition, and I hope that his family continues to know that we love them and are thinking of them. And I just want to thank our school system for allowing this to happen. And Kelly, thank you for making it happen and getting us the means to do it.
Ms. Hawkins, Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I've just got a couple things. First, for our next study session, I would like to add the naming of Gallatin sports facilities. The school would like to name a couple facilities off after some very important people that have contributed to the school. If you'd like to know more information, they'd like to kind of keep it under wraps. Surprise those individuals, I'll be more than happy to share with you. But I'd like to have that on one of our next study sessions. And second, to echo Ms. Hawkins, the event that Ms. Flood was able to help put together for the school. I had the opportunity to travel with the Landers family and attend the game, and the tribute they had was pretty amazing. to the coach. And I also want to just give a shout out to the Gallatin News. The write-up they had on the coach was pretty incredible. A lot of people knew him as a coach because that's what he did at the high school. But if you read that article, you saw how amazing his legacy was, not just in sports, but outside of the schools and in his church, and the way he lived his life to make a difference in the lives of the others, the way he interacted with students inside and outside of our schools. And I just appreciate the newspaper and the write-up that they provided, because it really did truly show what type of coach he was. And I think what's amazing, seeing the students that are here today, I don't think he's the exception when it comes to teachers and coaches in our schools in this county. I think we see a lot of that. These individuals, these men and these women that lead these students are more than just coaches. In the way they make a difference in the lives of the people they touch, inside and outside of the classroom, on the field or on the court and outside of it. And the legacy they're having, I think, is amazing just because of the types of people that we have leading our students. And that's the example of what we saw earlier of when you have great people and great leaders in your schools in different positions, you create great students like we have here. So, again, prayers for the family, and thank you to all the other coaches out there and the amazing job that they do in making a difference and an impact on our community.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Mr. Wise?
I have no comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Mr. Brown?
I don't either. I agree with everything y'all said, so.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Gregory?
No comment.
Well, I'm going to carry on that legacy too. I have no comment. So thank y'all for being here. Drive careful on the way home. We are adjourned.